Would you set me 50-minute, 50?
Okay, so this is How to Publish Your Games. I'm Robert Bohl. I published this venue.
I'm Vincent Baker. I published Apocalypse World, Dr. Linear, Kill Puppies for Satan, Megatons, In a Wicked Age, Poison, and now it's just this weekend, Murderous Ghosts.
I'm Meguey Baker. I published 1001 Nights. I have a game that will be out by Christmas called Psi-Run.
And that's an interesting publishing story we're going to get to later on. We're going to talk about why to publish and how to publish. And so to start out with the why to publish, I'd like Vincent to talk about his completed ideas theory.
Yes. And we'll try and speak slowly, but we're happy to repeat ourselves as you need. We don't.
Thank you for reminding me that.
Yeah. And is there anyone?
If we're like this, it's to.
Yeah, his arms will be bruised. Should we ask if there's anyone?
Oh, and if we say something and your neighbor can help you out, that's fine. We'll wait, or we'll.
Or we'll say, Julina!
One of my English teachers, one of my writing teachers, used to always say that an unwritten thought is an incomplete thought. And as I wrote more and more, I add to that an unpublished thought, an unpublished text is an incomplete text. The life cycle of an idea is you have the idea, you write the idea, or if you're an artist, you sculpt the idea, whatever. You have the idea, you write the idea, and then you put it in front of its audience. And until you have put your idea in front of its audience, it's not a complete idea. It hasn't had its whole life. That's why I publish. Ideas are compelling and beautiful and demanding. And I don't personally, I don't have any choice but to put an idea in front of its audience when I have it. Otherwise, I'm not doing service to the idea.
For me, the question of why publish has two answers. One is to play the types of stories that I want to play, or that I want to see available to play. Before I wrote this game, it wasn't a set of stories that you could play. There were other places. Same with Apocalypse World. Same with this youth. So I want to play this kind of story. The other thing about why I want to publish is, like Julia and I were talking about in our last workshop, is I've been playing games since I was 7 years old. You know, that's 33 years. And as a woman, you know, we're here. But no one will know that we're here unless women start publishing games. So, and I can run, there's men in this field who are very supportive of this. But unless myself and other women who are publishing say, okay, I'll do it, we will remain unknown.
Some other reasons why you might publish include my personal one, which is that I have some ideas, and then I want to share it. I want as many people as possible to communicate with me, basically, although it's a one-way communication. Also, the most important thing in our opinion is that you're going to publish and sell your own games, okay? And the your own games part means you keep all the money, which is really important because, you know, it's your idea. You should have complete control over how it's executed, and give the world the opportunity to hear your unique voice. And we live in a time now where technology allows individual small creators to find those audiences, and to be able to get their work to them and still have that kind of control that they need.
All here.
We'll talk about money, and I don't know why I feel uncomfortable about that. I feel, but if I don't make money off of my games, I can't keep publishing my games. Coming to Italy is fantastic. I love it, but the money is sunlight and water for the next game. And as much money as you can keep for this game means more money for the next game, to publish it, to produce it, to create more freedom in how you create the next game and how you can express your ideas.
This is really, really important. Wait. When Vincent published his first game?
We'll talk about them later and tell that story.
I love stories.
Let's talk.
Okay, I'll stay with Richard.
Let's talk first, if we can, about what we mean by publishing. Because Vincent was just talking about money and how important it is, but you don't have to sell something to people in order to publish it. You can publish it on the web for free. You can publish an ebook or a PDF and charge for it, or you can publish to paper. And it's important that you not think that any one of those things is something you have to do. I feel you just have to, like, a lot of times I think when people talk about publishing, they assume paper and books, and that's probably going to become increasingly less the case.
Can I say? This book, the English edition, American edition of this book, not this book, but my Apocalypse World, I sell about as many PDFs, ebooks, as I do physical books. And selling the physical books is part of my marketing plan, but it's not essential to my business. The ebooks, if I cut off the physical books, I would lose some of my audience, but the ebooks can carry the game forward into the future. So those are decisions that you make as a publisher. What formats do you want your game in? That you'll make individually for each game.
And I think the part about it, marketing strategy is very important there. That you may have a game where you do an initial release of this game, and it's in print for 5 years, and then it becomes PDF because you've generated enough money and enough awareness to be working on your next game. And with the increasing technology, I think that may become increasing. There will be the trail-off because having something visual, we're still a very visual culture, and being able to see, oh, it looks like this, at a booth, continues to be part of the marketing strategy.
Now to move into, well, so we talked about how you could publish to paper, web, or ebook. Retail, yes. Selling to stores means that you'll get a lot less of the money, but you've got a lot more exposure. When you actually get to an extent, what form it takes depends on what the game needs to be in terms of the design. And that's sort of the next part, which is the big underwear question marks prophet, from South Park. Like the design, if you've seen, I just don't have this reference. Yeah, okay. It's a black, I won't explain it. It's a black box that we're not going to get into too much, but the design aspect is an important part of how to publish. And because any given game is what I'm saying is you need to design the game that you. I'm talking this up. I'm sorry. No, you don't.
I get what you're saying.
It'll be good enough. It'll be better, I'm sure.
When you design the game, you are already making decisions about how you will present it. Is that what you mean?
I was trying to combine two things. but also, I would say, on the design front, designing
the visual design?
No, I mean the
game design.
Okay. I figured out what I want to say.
Okay.
Design not based on what you're familiar with or what everyone else has done in terms of the rules you make up. Just make the rules that you need for the game that you're designing. A lot of people, for example, would include a thorough combat system in any role-playing game. A lot of people would include a GM, and even call it that, in any role-playing game because they expect that that's what people are going to be expecting, and people won't want to buy it otherwise. All I want to say about how you want to design your game is design your game so that it does what you want it to do, and not so that it follows some tradition. Although you can grab traditions.
You're designing games. Who is designing a fantasy game? Okay. Why a fantasy game? And why a new fantasy game? And when you can answer those questions for yourself. For instance, no, I just did it.
Demerits for me.
There's something that you want to say, each of you wants to say, and fantasy is the way you want to say it. Why fantasy? Why not science fiction? Why not a Western? You know the answer to that. That's in your vision. Why a new fantasy game? You're trying to translation. Oh, no.
You could speak up.
Yeah, everybody.
If you can, and
see, in the future.
No.
And then there's some reason that you know why no fantasy game that exists does what you need it to do. And that's the answer to this question. Why a new fantasy game? Why not just use Riddle of Steel or D&D or Shadow of Yesterday or whatever fantasy games? You have answers to those questions in your vision, and those become the metrics, for your design. So at each stage of design, you hold your design up to the answers to these questions. I am making a fantasy game.
Okay, sit down.
No. I'm making a fantasy game because I want to say something about magic. I have this idea about magic, and fantasy is the avenue where I can say this thing about magic. And why I do a fantasy game is because no game says about magic what I want to say about magic. So at every stage of the design then, I say, does this say what I want it to say about magic? Does this say what I want it to say about magic? Does this say...
Do these mechanics, do these characters,
do the characters, do the setting,
yeah.
Does at every stage. So this high-level vision becomes the standard by which every single piece of the design, by which I judge every single piece of the design, so that if there's a GM, I put a GM in here, and I discover that having a GM doesn't say what I want to say about magic early. If there's rules for swords and stabbing and horse charges, and that doesn't say what I want to say about magic, it goes away.
That editing process is hard.
It's hard.
Because
it's difficult.
We'll have this vision of something, and it could be, and sometimes it's hard to let go. Like, oh, I really want there to be horse races in this game. Damn. Because it comes that the mechanics for that, you know, we're having the story, it's great, horse race, and it bogs it down, it's too complex. Even though it may have been part of our idea, it doesn't support those two tough questions. So that editing process in your game design becomes something that, something vital, and something that as a designer, you have to grow to. It may not be in your
Something like a premise in your game or a vision. I mean, it's something you want to draw like a picture, so you have the idea, the final idea, or something you want to communicate, and so the premise at the beginning of your game. So that's brilliant. That's much more important when you start and develop all these steps. I think it's something little. It's not so different, but it's something different.
Yes. And your answers to these might be all different kinds of answers. Like, I design my games to help myself overcome my weaknesses. I play wishy-washy NPCs, so I designed Dogs in the Vineyard to make me play strong, aggressive, vigorous NPCs. Does Dogs in the Vineyard do that at every stage? And if there's something that's conflicting, and so you'll have many answers to these questions, but they constrain your game design. Tradition or mimicking existing games shouldn't.
It'll put all this crap in there that you'll only have to weed out later.
And now to undercut but reinforce all of this, I'll say that you can recapture things, in fact, about your past play. You just don't, I don't think you should repeat. So it's something my friend Joshua A.C. Newman talks about a lot, who designed Shock, that a game design, his game designs and mine too, are trying to get at something that has been fun in play in the past, and figure out how to recapture what was like an alchemy having often very little to do with any written rules, and to take that combination, that magic, and turn it into something that's reliable and that communicates to other people.
Yes.
The essence of that moment,
That
yes.
moment,
Yeah.
like, this session that we just played together, was great. How do we do this again? And if we have a game that has supported that, well, we know how to do it.
For example,
But if we have if that has come, that moment that was so wonderful has come up in spite of rules that didn't support it. If we've had to say, okay, we're playing GURPS, you know, some basic thing, but we as a little group have made this moment fantastic. It's not in the game. How do we do this again? Instead of this. And this is what we want. So the games that we create and the games that you will create will help support this moment much more reliably. That's the one. Let's wait questions.
Oh, you said that we should have questions.
so we have more to talk about, but are there any questions so far?
Please ask questions.
Domande?
Because it's a conversation. I mean, hopefully you are our peers, you know? In a couple of years' time, we can have this conversation as like, oh, how's your new game? What are you doing? Who'd you find to be your illustrator? How's it going for you? No, that's our hope. That's why we do things like this. Because we're really excited about it. We love, I've been saying this all week, we love coming together. We love that Italians like our games so much that they want to translate them into Italian and bring us here. Wow. But we love the idea of Italians making their own games. You know, oh my gosh. Wow. And maybe we'll find someone in America somewhere who can translate them.
I want, Jacopo is doing the translation of Raven Death.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah.
So I don't think we have any questions.
No, do it.
So,
I talked over them.
no, we waited, no one said anything. So,
We also have to translate very well.
Nel mio caso, il mio sviluppo di gioco, sono partito da questo discorso su un progetto di fantascienza che però diciamo, ha un tema un po' difficile, che è la religione. Quindi sì, ho seguito questa logica perché non c'è un prodotto, che io sappia, che abbia questi argomenti. Mi piace trattarli, li ho trattati con tanti prodotti, però è un tema difficile. Cioè, quest'idea può creare, cioè, è da scartare perché può avere difficoltà sul pubblico, sull'editore, o comunque uno dovrebbe perseguirla.
So what he's saying is, he faces a similar question, but it's science fiction, because he's interested in a particular theme, which is religion in science fiction, which is not present in existence. So
I can't think of any.
yeah, right. So the point in this case, the question was, why a new science fiction game? Because religion is a theme he was interested in. So the question was, do you think it's a difficult theme? Do you think it's worth pushing it?
Absolutely, because it's difficult. Because it's difficult. It's like going to the moon. You do it because it's hard.
Yes.
Did you see us all? I want to play this game, right? This game so I can play it.
He's published a series of, it's an indie publisher.
Free book, free manual,
Yeah?
5 book,
Yeah?
2 manual with a 3D game, miniature, sci-fi, ships,
I think it's one of the most successful.
can book 5 years of works in designer, more.
Sì, io guarda sempre. Perfetto.
Sì, parlo fuori da te. Noi sono da dentro della Mille Games Studio, diciamo queste cose qua. E ci piacerebbe riuscire a allargare oltre l'Italia anche all'estero. Come si può portare un prodotto indipendente fuori da casa propria?
So she's the art director for Vigna, and they're an Italian independent publisher. And she wants to know, well, they started to explore the Italian market, but how can you go beyond that? Do you have any suggestions? How to go international?
I mean, having American Julia Barbano. I mean, I would say get involved in the internet in English a little. Yeah, I mean, go to American forums and talk, or the internet somewhere, wherever you're comfortable, and start to meet people that way. And I think that there will be a great deal of interest in translated games. Or everyone I know would be excited about it.
Like, I've never heard of this game.
Sì,
You have so much.
usare
I know this in English.
in inglese per creare un interesse nel gioco a livello internazionale, perché secondo loro, come si sente vero, c'è questo effetto di gioco che arriva non dagli Stati Uniti, c'è un interesse abbastanza forte per vedere cose nuove che arrivano da tutto il mondo.
This won't help. What happened with me is I was going about my business and somebody wrote me and said, I would like to publish your game in Italian. What's your policy? And I said, I don't know. Sure, send me a contract. So I don't know. Someone noticed me somehow. I didn't have anything to do with it.
That was my experience too.
Yeah.
I think this will change.
Yeah.
I think this will change. Oh, you want to say?
I hope it will change. But
I think this will
I don't
change
know if we can give
because
advice.
I think having this helps your vision because I think Rob is right. Making connections on the internet. I'm sitting here thinking we need a sort of Italian English game design forum where we can all struggle together with the language. But I know if you could.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
La risposta di Vincent è che, dalla sua esperienza, che probabilmente non è aiutata di uso, è che sta facendo effetti suoi, è arrivata di me, dice, posso tradurre il tuo gioco italiano? Come ti gestisci questa situazione? In realtà non ho idea, perché dimmi tu. La stessa cosa è successa con Rob, però secondo loro la cosa può cambiare, soprattutto man mano che si crea una maggiore presenza su internet, in forum di discussione e così via, potrebbe anche esserci appunto la cosa inversa, succedere la cosa inversa.
And I know the American already. It comes to my mind now. My friend Jen, who was born in Bologna, and is absolutely fluent in Italian.
And is she interested in games?
Yeah. She's new to the idea, but she knows it's something that I do. She said, "Oh, that's kind of interesting."
That's great. Two birds with one stone.
Yes. So it begins to unfold this connection. Like Rob said earlier, with the internet, with the ability for us to put our own ideas before a market, the way, especially the internet, the genie is out of the bottle. We will have connection. We will exchange ideas. We will support each other in bringing American designers that are interested in Italy and bringing Italian games into English for the American audience, and it will ripple out. We have an offer now to translate into Portuguese for the sale in Brazil. We have an offer now to translate Africa into Polish. So it begins to, because of the internet, because of big conventions where people come from all over. Yours will too.
Any other questions?
And then we'll go to the next part. Any other? Yeah, next part? Okay.
So, we're going to talk about some ways. So, okay, there's collaboration. I don't know how to flow, but no, I don't know how to flow from what we were talking about. Okay, go.
Are you all designing games individually? You're working together?
You're working, and these two are partners. Yeah.
You have partners?
Yeah. Okay.
How is that going for you? Yeah?
Are you working on it with Lucca?
Oh, good. We been married for 20 years. We have children together. We share a house. We share finances. We do not share our game company.
Yeah.
How do you divide responsibilities? Do you have, on a project, do you have a final decision maker? Or do you agree to everything?
Or you know,
Or do you justify?
La domanda, visto che qua tutti lavorano a game design con qualcun altro, come gestite la cosa? C'è qualcuno che prende la decisione finale? È un processo?
All'inizio non so.
Like
They have divided their roles completely.
Yeah.
He's the game designer, and she's the illustrator and art director.
Do you, so you have the text and you create the design of the book. That's a hard house. I place it.
They're very good.
But she's a art director.
Fantasy Western and steampunk pirates.
I love the steampunk pirate. I'm all over that. This we should get into English. The steampunk scene is
Don't
huge.
look at me, I'm not a translator. Not a thing. That's stuff to do.
No, but this would go very well in the States, I think. Let's be sure that we get contact information about this. I agree. This, I have a little personal loyalty to Dallas Adventure, but you know, I think also.
No.
You're so pretty. You stay over there. I say yes. Are you sure?
What Vincent, I think, is getting at is that they're what?
Then I can take this to my Juliana and say, what do you think about this? Brilliant.
Whenever you're doing a creative work like that, if you're collaborating, it's important to have one person, I feel, who can say, this is what it has to be.
I'm curious about there.
Okay, yeah.
Please.
Do you have that?
Yes.
Facciamo. I don't know how I take the decision. He made the game design and I suggested some correction and I developed the project in a way. So
He's the project manager.
it's much more kind of role and different roles and contribution. And of course I'm working and thinking about a new one project and he's helping me on that. But if the main idea is yours, I will support you. That's the idea.
So there's a concept of the gamekeeper.
Yeah,
okay,
that's it.
From a thing that our friend Ebediah Ravishal, who designed Dread, created called Playstorming. Playstorming, yeah. Playstorming is brainstorming and playtesting.
Yeah.
You play the game and you make it up as you go along.
Sometimes it goes terribly wrong.
It-
That didn't work. Try something else.
it usually goes terribly wrong at some level because you're making up rules on the fly, and it's very stuttered. But the important part in that is that you can have essentially 5 game designers at the table together, but one person is the gamekeeper, and everyone that person has total authority and they own the game. There's varying degrees of that.
How does it work in your little
I'm a game designer, investing with people. My partner is a writer, correcting text, poetry, and a lot scribing.
Yeah, that's great.
Our partner, designer, illustrator. I'm project manager with timing, working.
I need one of those for myself.
We need one of those. So this is wonderful. I like the division of labor. It's more difficult when we have 2 game designers, and I'm like, I need you to get. So we divide projects differently. Psi-Run, the new game that I have coming out. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, I was gonna. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
There's another kind of publishing working with other people that
that's
Meg
what-
has a great deal of experience with.
Yeah, okay. So it's collaboration at a slightly different level. Our friend Chris Moore. Oh, it's even more complicated than that.
Tell me, just Chris Moore.
Okay. Okay. Chris Moore designed a game, Psi-Run, about people who have superpowers and amnesia. And I love this game. I played it lots. I play tested it many times. But he has 7 children. He does not have the time or the space in his life to bring this game to fruition. And so a year and a half or thereabouts ago, I wrote to him and I said, Chris, this game is too good to be sitting in this unfinished form. He had published it, but not really. It was like a rough draft, you know? And I don't even know how this was sale.
It was.
But it was very cheap because the production value was like, here's my photocopy stapled together, you know? It was very. So I wrote to him and said, I know how to finish a game. I have more time in my life. What do you think? And he said, wow, that was great. So I took his text, which made a lot of rewriting. There was a lot of passive voice and confused rules and things where it was just
That happened in the first draft.
Yeah, it's part of the first draft. It's fun. So I rewrote the entire text, created rules where there needed to be rules, edited out rules that were part of the editing process. So that's all good. And now I'm saying, okay, Vincent, please finish the book design.
See, collaboration.
So that's another little collaboration. You may find that there are friends or games that you like. Maybe there's a game in French, one of you knows, and you'll say, this game, I'd love to finish it. What do you think? That's possible, it's an option. Write and ask and see it work. And then the process of, I think only do that if you have a love for the game and a strong desire to carry it through. Because it demands of me real respect and care of the original designer.
He has
He had the original idea. I need to respect that and find ways to support that. And I've played the game enough, I've discussed the game with him enough, I have enough playtesting feedback that I'm able to do that in a way that I'm really proud of this game. But that's a level of collaboration that's possible. I think that it's a level of Kawamatsu is the same.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Or Scott Connect.
See, Scott Knight. And then they'll say, I think this is a great game, you know? So it's possible. And then there's the collaboration with, like, okay.
Oh yeah, I say yes. But first I have to design this game.
And this happens all the time. We're all set. Like, I had hoped to have Psi-Run done for Lucca. That would be great to come to Lucca and say, oh, and by the way, here's my 5 little copies of my brand new game. Because, you know, that would have been really cool. And it maybe could have happened. But Vincent had a new game come barreling through his head, Murderous Ghosts. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's like a week before we left to come to less than that. It's like, oh, I'm leaving for Lucca in 5 days, and I have to finish this game before we go. Okay.
Murderous Ghosts. It had to be out for
Halloween.
There was nothing I could do. My hands were tied.
And so for the last, but it's been like a 2-month process of from the idea to all the playtesting and the test and all that sort of stuff. So in my great graciousness, I said, okay, instead of getting Psi-Run for October, we'll get December. So the collaboration process, you know, finding the flexibility, I think is really important, because if it comes to a place where you're not getting along as people, it's gonna, the game's gonna suffer, you know. And we learned, we're still learning, because this was my first published game. We're still learning when to back off from each other in collaboration, and to say, you know, there's a detail, and suddenly we're fighting over something. And that sucks.
You only fight that.
We only.
It's true, they never fight. They never fight.
It is, because I have a vision for how this will go. And he said, well, I don't think it can go that way. Why not? You know, and things like that. And even worse, when it's the other way around, and we say, read this over, tell me what you think, and I'm like, listen. And, you know, we have the same sort of,
So now I want to talk about goals, publishing goals, and to keep them realistic. I can't talk about numbers for Italian games. I don't know how they sell, but for a long time, 700 copies a year has been my idea of vast success. And it's because that's the number that Vincent, that's the number I've heard that Vincent sells about for Dogs in the Vineyard every year. So,
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's our life. We are not one year.
Qual è il successo? Come per esempio la cifra che considero essere un successo vasto nel settore è 700 copie, perché sono quelle di Cani, nella Vigna, ogni anno.
but the important thing is to do the research to find out what a realistic goal is, so that you don't wind up printing 3,000 copies of a game, and they're sitting in your house and do you wanna?
Yes, we have dear friends. We have dear friends who printed 2,000 copies of a game, 3,000 printed.
Fulminata.
Yeah.
No, other guys. Sorry, go on.
No, there's so many stories of people who printed thousands of copies of their game on their credit card, and now they're still paying for them while they fall apart in the cellar because they don't sell them.
Do not go into debt. Do not take out a loan. You do not have to. Do not do it.
In the U.S., I don't know about technology here. It's probably the same, but in the U.S.,
We have electricity.
what you had to do to publish a game. Now, with PDFs, with print on demand, good. You can print 50 copies, 10 copies. You can wait until you receive the order to print the copy. That's how Mille works. Shall I tell the story about it? Yes. Yes.
Okay. When we go on, I started early.
Probably.
Yeah. But can you do it in 5 minutes?
Yeah. Okay, that's a short story.
Yeah. Whoever wants to.
I decided that one year we were very, very poor. We were living in a little apartment. We had 2 children. We had terrible jobs.
I'll be sure. Okay, so we had a toddler and a new baby. Vincent had just been laid off from work. I was working very part-time because of the new baby. We were really poor. And Vincent...
My budget for buying games for that year was $60.
For the whole year?
For the whole year,
$60.
And I looked at the games that were coming out, and I said, I don't want these games. I wonder how far I can go.
And
so I had $60 that I could spend to see if I could publish games. And I haven't spent a penny of my own money since. So that was my starting capital. And
we did an initial print run was like, it was a little pamphlet. Maybe.
I printed them at work.
Yeah, do that. Use them, they're using you.
Kill puppies for safety.
Kill puppies for safety.
Oh, little story. I was still working those little couple hours. I came home one day from working a double shift, very long. I said, how was your day, my dear love? And he said, I wrote a game. I said, oh really? What was it? Because that's how he does everything. I wrote a game. What's it called? It's called Kill Puppies for Satan. Oh, you have that. So we had enough money to make like 25 copies.
25 copies.
And that's it.
Allora,
what year was that?
What year?
2001.
Allora, nel 2001 erano poverissimi, avevano nato bambino, lui era appena stato licenziato, lei lavorava tanto part-time perché era incinta, così non c'è, e avevano messo da parte per tutto l'anno $60 per i giochi. Siccome tutti i giochi che stavano facendo non ce n'erano che mi interessasse, allora ho detto, vabbè, ho $60, devo provare a vedere cosa faccio se pubblico il mio gioco. Quindi li ha stampati da loro.
This year we have made board games in
the office. E quindi ne ho stampate 25 copie e con questi $60. Quello era il budget iniziale e non ho mai più speso soldi di tasca sua per pubblicare giochi italiana. Questa è la
I want to actually, I want to tell the rest.
Yeah,
Go for it.
you switched it.
No, I'll do that in a minute. It's okay. Kill Puppies for Satan. I abandoned it on the doorstep in the middle of the night to the local game stores. I said, give these away or burn them or whatever you want. I mailed copies to Jonathan Tweet, maybe Robin Laws, not Robin, this was before. Jonathan Tweet, Robin Laws, unsolicited, just mailed them to them. And then I went online later, and I said, I kind of made a game. It's kind of called Kill Puppies for Satan. It was an excellent marketing strategy.
Yeah. What the heck is this game?
I got hate mail. I got beautiful hate mail. I put all my hate mail online on the page that said, see what people are saying about Kill Puppies for Satan.
You were a terrible, terrible person. You made my little sister cry.
It used to be the top hit. What are the top hits for puppies?
Oh my God.
Puppies, you used to do puppies.
Puppies into Google, third on the page.
So let's sort of translate.
la parte ancora più assurda della storia è che questo gioco qua si chiama Uccidere e cucire per Satana. E quindi queste 25 copie andate a portarle di porta in porta di notte davanti ai negozi di giochi locali con un biglietto scritto vendete, bruciata e quello che vi pare, no? E poi ho iniziato a andare sui vari forum su internet, vari giochi, forum di giochi di ruolo, a dire no, scrivimi qua si chiama cucire per Satana. Ho iniziato ad arrivare e questa cosa qua mi ha dato un successo incredibile su Google, per cui era il terzo risultato per cucire. Cosa che ha generato un sacco di lettere minatorie. Ma come dico questa cosa orribile, la mia sorellina sta piangendo.
Great marketing strategy.
No, go ahead.
It's actually a true thing about marketing strategy to think about your game, how you're going to have people talk about your games. Vincent's game and Rob's game, both of these are people are conflicted about these games. Like, oh, this, we played this game and it brought up these things. I don't know. Or the question, people talk about them online. Sometimes a lot. My game, oh, we played 1,000 Nights. It was fantastic.
And consequently,
And so because of that, my game is not as well known, and I don't sell as many copies. So,
Even though the mechanics are like super brilliant, and the I think that A Penny for My Thoughts, which won best show for mechanics, has a lot to that owes to this.
It was a lot to this book.
And it is a marketing thing.
Yeah. Also, the production values on my release of my American release of 1,001 Nights, the production values are not very good. When I first came, very often the production value on your first game is not very good.
it was 2005.
It was in 2005.
Technology has advanced and
Yeah.
advanced since then.
Yeah. And so this will sell. This is beautiful. I love this book so much that when I saw the Italian copy, I have licensed back the art from Claudia for the new English edition. Which will have some more rules and some more other stuff because it's I like it better. It's much better. Yeah.